Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the European celebration of the Girls in ICTs. Good afternoon to everyone who is following us today. My name is Jarosław Ponder and I'm the head of the... We have some echo. Good afternoon to everyone. I'm hearing the echo. I'm very sorry for this technical problem, but I will start one more time. And I will ask the technical team to double check. Okay. I see that this has been already corrected. So ladies and gentlemen, one more time, welcome to the Girls in ICT celebrations, in particular, and the European celebration. My name is Jarosław Ponder, and I'm the head of the ITU Office for Europe, UN specialized agency in charge of the ICTs. It's my great pleasure to welcome you here with us. Before we start, I would like to briefly give the floor to Antonella, our technical moderator, who is herself a girl in ICT. Antonella, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Dear participants, thank you for joining. My name is Antonella, and I will be the remote participation moderator for this event. I would like to give some instructions on Zoom webinar platform. You can view and activate the captioning by clicking on closed caption in the bottom bar of the Zoom interface. For any question or comment, you can use the Q&A function on the bottom bar of the Zoom interface. You can type a question and you can also upvote somebody else's question. Thank you really much and have a nice event.
Many thanks, Antonella. I would like to inform everyone that this event is live streamed on YouTube, Twitter, and on our official ITU webcasting services. I have now the pleasure to introduce a message from Doreen Bogdan Martin, Director of the Telecommunication Development Bureau, and our role model in promoting the equality for gender. I would like to request to play the video.
Its 10-year anniversary. This is one of the top events on my calendar every year, but this year is special as we mark 10 years over the course of which we have celebrated Girls in ICT Day events in more than 170 countries with 11,000 events. I'm so pleased to see that ITU's European partners, stakeholders, and supporters are getting together to promote exciting career opportunities for girls and young women in the tech sector. Collective cross-sectoral efforts are vital to empower girls in technology, not only for the benefit of girls themselves, but for society at large. By giving girls the tools to explore the world of tech with curiosity and imagination, we can stimulate innovations that use ICT to solve some of the biggest challenges of our times. We do have a number of projects underway that give me great hope. Regional initiatives in Europe that target accessibility, affordability, and skills development continue to be crucial in advancing digital inclusion and sustainable development for all. New studies, such as the ITU and UN Women report on women, girls, and ICT in the context of COVID-19, are helping identify key factors and trends in the participation of women in the digital sector at a national level, and they also include several clear and implementable recommendations. Partnerships such as the Equals EU group promote gender equity in social innovation by drawing on the expertise of 19 organizations from 15 EU member states and associated countries. Looking back at my personal journey in the field of ICTs, I started off as a young girl intrigued by science, and then I became a young professional enthusiast about technology policy. And I'm now the first woman to ever hold a top elected management position in the UN Agency for Digital Technologies, the ITU. If I could give my 10-year-old self a piece of advice, I would say, explore, question, discover, and find ways you can make an impact. Seize the moment to go after that which inspires you, and don't hold yourself back. Think about what technology could do for you and for the world. I hope you will join us in more 10th anniversary celebrations by visiting ITU's Girls in ICT webpage and following us at #GirlsInICT on social media. You will find information on events such as the 10 moments of Girls in ICT and plenty of activities and events to join. After this European celebration of Girls in ICT, I invite you to take part in the global celebration event later today. Thank you, and have a wonderful Girls in ICT Day.
Thank you very much. After this inspiring video, I would like to take a moment to highlight that this event is indeed a significant milestone of the ITU's Girls in ICT Day, which started in 2011 and has now seen over 377,000 girls and young women taking part in more than 11,400 international Girls in ICT's Day celebrations in 171 countries. I'm very proud also to announce that also today, all countries of the Europe region are committed to support this movement. And you will see on the global map so many events happening today. Governments, national ICT regulatory authorities, ICT companies, academic institutions, UN agencies, and NGOs across Europe have all joined this movement and have celebrated this day throughout Europe over the last years. Today, I'm also delighted to see so many young European girls representing their countries proudly and delivering very important messages to all of us with regards to their hopes and wishes for their future education and careers in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. As a father of 2 daughters myself, who are very curious when it comes to the technology and science, I'm a true believer that girls can do anything they put their mind to. I'm very much looking forward to hear that the girls that have joined us today, from as young as 11 years old, have to say. It's my pleasure to see so many incredible and courageous young girls take center stage. At the ITU Office for Europe, gender takes center stage, and we are continuously working with our member states to ensure that gender is taken into consideration at every national strategy ideation and implementation. We could not have arrived today at this event alone. I'm delighted to have to be joined and to join the forces in the organization of this event with our partner, Equals EU, represented by Anthony Guillaumes, who is doing an incredible job in this area. We could not have done this event also without our support of the Regional Cooperation Council, represented by Maja Angiska, head of the program department, also by the regional director of the UN Women for Europe and Central Asia. Welcome to this event, as well as the CPT, represented by the co-president of this regional organization, Miss Christina Flutur, and representatives of the Network of Women for Europe. Also, today, we are joined by the ITU Generation Connects Europe Youth Group, represented today by Andrea Barbu, and the Development Goals Forum, represented by Hamsika and Pramkumar, CEO of this forum. We are also will be pleased to hear some special words of the greetings from Commissioner Gabriel, who could not join us today, but sent a special greetings to the whole community. Without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Dr. Anthony Gianomis, a social entrepreneur, advocate, and researcher at Oslo Met and lead at the Equals EU, the flagship project at the European level, advancing innovation and promoting the gender equality. Anthony, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Yaroslav. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here today. I have been looking forward to this event all week, and I think we've been preparing for months. So this opportunity is kind of the culmination, not only of a lot of hard work and more recently, but something that I have had a passion for many years. I went to a technical high school and I studied electronics. So I was doing a lot of work in the lab and I played around with circuit boards and everything else you could imagine. There was probably one, maybe two girls in the entire class. And like many high schools, the girls and the boys pretty much stuck to themselves. If I could do it all over again, I would tell myself, stick with the girls. Their grades were better, they treated each other nicely, and they learned a lot more than I did. After high school, I went to work at an electronics company, and there I met a woman named Barbara. She was the only one at the whole company who could put together a circuit board after our automated machine had completely destroyed it. And if I could do it over again, I would tell her how awesome I thought she was for being able to do that. Later on, I went to college. And at my university, they made me take a modern drama class. And I thought this was completely silly because I wasn't there to study drama. In that class, my teacher made us read a play called A Doll's House. This is by the Norwegian playwright Henrik Ibsen. The whole play is about a woman's oppression in her own home. That play completely changed my view of my mom and all of the women in my family. If I could do it over again, I would tell my teacher that she had changed my life. Today, I have the privilege to lead a grassroots advocacy project focused on women in innovation. And we've recently launched a newsletter, which means you have the opportunity to learn more about how we can create a more gender-inclusive world, and especially how we can involve women and girls in innovation. I would encourage everyone to please sign up now. The QR code is on the screen. Just grab your phone and take a picture of that, and you can enroll in our newsletter. Now, I'm very honored and privileged to be able to announce that we have a video from a very special person, Maria Gabriel. She is the EU Commissioner on Innovation, Research, Culture, Education, and Youth, a phenomenal human being. So I would love if we could play that video now.
Your talent, your potential, and your leadership. Dear friends, today we celebrate the International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Knowledge, skills, and talent know no borders and gender. Let me first extend my warm congratulations to all of you successfully pursuing a study or a career in science. Europe needs your creativity and entrepreneurial potential. In Europe, 41% of scientists and engineers are women. It is clear that without its talented and innovative women, Europe cannot and will not move forward. Although we have reached 48% of female PhD graduates in Europe, women make up only 33% of researchers and 22% of the heads of higher education institutions in Europe. There are, of course, differences among countries. Yet, on the average, women make up 17% of tech sector jobs. Therefore, we need to encourage women to develop skills in science, technology, engineering, so we can finally take advantage of all our talent and diversity. In fact, we all know brilliant women scientists, but they still deserve more visibility, and firmly believe that we need more women role models to inspire others to follow them. This is why I launched the EU Women for Future campaign last year to celebrate and showcase Europe's talented women. We have also the European Prize for Women Innovators, which awards the most innovative women researchers and raises awareness of the need for more women entrepreneurs. Within our initiatives, the European Research Area and the European Education Area, we aim to build a pipeline for female innovation talents, starting with schoolgirls throughout education and early stages of career. The pandemic has clearly demonstrated the critical role of women researchers in different stages of the fight against COVID-19, from advancing the knowledge on the virus to developing techniques for testing, and finally, to creating the vaccine against the virus. Now, we must ensure women continue playing their key role, leading the way out of the crisis. Girls and women in Europe, we need your ideas, your talent, your potential. I would like to call upon all of you, smart and strong women of Europe. Let's stay united to unlock the full potential of women for leading Europe towards a green, digital, healthy, and resilient future. Let's transform the International Day of Women and Girls in Science in everyday example of your talent, your potential, and your leadership.
I want to highlight something there that Commissioner Gabriel said that's so critically important. This issue of talent. The tech sector in Europe needs more talented people in those jobs to help solve our critical challenges in society. And we cannot afford to leave out or exclude 50% of the population. So this issue is critical to our development as a society. Now I get to turn to my favorite part, and that is the main event. We have so many wonderful young people here today to talk about their experiences in working with this issue. And so we're going to kick off in Norway. And we have a wonderful young woman there, Andrea Lingholm, who is going to introduce herself and the work that she's doing.
Hi, my name is Andrea Lingholm. I'm 6 years old and from Stavanger, which is a city in Norway. I'm finishing sophomore year this summer and will start a junior year in August 2021. I've not yet decided what to study in university, but to make sure that I can study anything I want after the next years in high school, I have chosen to include math and science in my high school degree. Through media, school, and parents, I am aware that the proportion of girls choosing a technical career is too low, and the girls are encouraged to choose a technical career like STEM and ICT. In Norway, I feel that I as a girl can study anything I like as long as my grades are good enough. So the system is not stopping me from choosing a technological career, but more the opposite actually. As I registered that universities are encouraging girls in particular to apply for a place to study at their university. So what is the reason for us girls not to seize the chance? I, of course, do not have the full answer, but I think maybe part of the reason is the way we are raised. From the age of 0, girls are given toys to play with that are more feminine compared to the toys boys are given. So most girls get dolls and most boys get cars. Growing up, I also registered that it's more easy and natural for my mom to ask me to help her in the kitchen and household than to ask my brother. While for my father, it's much more easy to ask my brother come help him out in the garden compared to ask me. In this way, our parents, without realizing it, are preparing my brother for a more masculine career compared to me. Having that said, my mom is an engineer, so in one way, she is a role model to me. At least that's what she likes to believe. When she was to choose a career in her youth, Her mother, my grandma, strongly encouraged her to choose a technical career and to become an engineer as her dad and avoid careers normally picked by women. This is a recommendation both she and my father have passed on to me and something I will consider when the time comes for me to choose. The last thing I'm going to say is the advice that I would give my 10-year-old self. I would say be kind to everyone and do what makes you happy and what you're passionate about, regardless of what others say, believe, or think, and try not to care as much about what others think of you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Andrea. Those were amazing words. I really appreciate you coming today. Let's turn now to the Netherlands. We have a wonderful young woman there, Daphne Stevens. Daphne, could you please tell us your experiences?
Yes, hello. My name is Daphne Stevens. I'm 22 years old and I'm from the Netherlands. I am currently pursuing my studies in law, but it's very strongly linked to technology. I namely took a lot of science courses in high school and I absolutely loved it. But I never really received any support to pursue this in my further studies. It was more often said to me, your math skills aren't that good, so you shouldn't really do something technical. So I decided to study law instead. But on the day I graduated from high school, my professors came up to me and they said, why are you not doing something technical? Because that would definitely be your thing. But I had already enrolled in my law course, so I decided to pursue that and just see where it would end up. In those times during my bachelor's, I really missed learning about science, and I still learned a lot about science in my free time because I just really enjoyed it. And then I went on exchange to Ireland, where I learned about the intersection between law and technology, for example, through cybercrime and data protection and all that. And that's what really piqued my interest because I could follow my two biggest passions, which is both law and science and technology. So I started studying law and technology, where I focused on personal data and cybercrime and disinformation. And I felt right back at home to be surrounded with all the techies, to say it like that. I also became active in the field of internet governance, for example, here through the ITU and through the IGF. And now I'm graduating soon, and I'm very actively looking for jobs that are tech related. So even though I took a small detour, and even though people told me that it may be very difficult for me to follow a tech-related course, I still end up where I planned to end up in the beginning. And that also links to my advice to my 10-year-old self. It is namely, don't listen to the people when they say that something is impossible, but instead just prove them wrong. That's what I've been doing over the past few years, and it really brought me to where I am today. So that's the piece of advice I would bring to my 10-year-old self and also to you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daphne. That is phenomenal. And if anybody needs a young, talented expert in law and technology, please check Daphne out. All right, let's go now to Latvia. We have a wonderful young woman there, Elise Golba. Elise, could we please hear from you?
Hi, dear girls. My name is Elise Golba, and I am first-year computer science student at Riga Business School. Today, I want to share my story and encourage other girls from all across Europe to become a part of ICT community. If you look around in your room, you will probably see many different technologies all around you. And now, in times of pandemic, the life without technologies seems unbelievable, as technologies now is the only tool how we can still connect across the world and keep ourselves safe. But have you ever considered being not only the user, but inventor of technologies? For me, it all began at 8th grade. We had the subject programming. And at first, I had a really bad gut feeling about it because I had really many different stereotypes in my head, and I thought that it would be terrible. And it was. It was terrible. I completely hated it. And having had this bad experience, mainly because of the incompetence of teacher, totally blocked the idea of me ever joining ICT community. Although ICT doesn't only involve being a programmer, as there's many different positions like project manager, website designer, and many others that involve not only hard skills like programming, but rather soft skills like creativity, leadership, and many others. As I told previously, my first interaction with ICT was rather unpleasant. However, as the years passed by, I started to hear more about the Latvian ICT community, the opportunities it can give, and how technologies can change the life of others. I saw that more and more girls are joining the ICT community, and I got really inspired by that. So I started reconsidering my previous experience and tried it again. I just applied to free online courses that are related to technology, just to try it again, but now with my own learning pace. And having given the second chance to myself, I understood that I actually really like technologies and I love programming. So I decided to apply to Riga Business School, which is a unique program that combines technology and business skills. And now I can say that it was one of my best decisions ever made. The beauty of ICT technologies is that they can be applied almost anywhere. For example, I really care about education. Like in many countries, in Latvia, students who live in rural areas have less opportunities in terms of education. And as I originally come from a countryside myself, the accessibility of proper education is really important to me. Therefore, I started to look how, with the help of technologies, can I conquer this problem? And now I work on a project in cooperation with Ministry of Education and Telecommunication operators in Latvia to improve internet connection all across the Latvian schools. And for me, it feels amazing that with the help of technologies, I can help pupils across my country to have a proper internet access at their school and expand the limits of classroom. And from this follows my advice to my 10-year-old self. If I would meet my 10-year-old self again, I would say just keep learning and believe in yourself, because amazing opportunities are waiting for you. Thank you.
Lisa, what an incredible story of resilience. I absolutely love it. You're inspiring. Let's turn now to Poland. We are slowly filling in the map. We have Marta Musidowska. I am probably butchering your name, Marta, so I'll have to apologize.
No worries. Everyone does it, so don't worry, really. So hello, everyone. My name is Marta Musidowska, and first of all, many thanks for having me here in such a high-level panel today. So in the halfway of my law studies, because I study law, I struggled with the feeling of not fitting in the standard career path, going to work in a law firm or corporation right after graduation and stuff like that. I have always been drawn to work in international organizations, trying to fit the law into the changing reality. So when I started to be interested in new technologies, particularly when we started to create Youth Internet Governance Forum Poland, as well as when I joined Women in AI organization last year, in the end of last year, subsequent events were like domino, like participation in one organization fueled another. I joined ITO for one project, for example. I started to meet more and more people with similar interests to mine, until one day, suddenly I received a phone call from one Polish newspaper that they would like me to write about new technologies by women for women. So although as I mentioned, my adventure with ICT started relatively recently, I still remember that I was surprised how many women are actually involved in the ICT and new technologies industry. What is more, I really think that for now, I met more women than men. And I think it's genuinely beautiful how we support each other. As I said, we have many organizations and events to share our experience, help each other, collaborate to make new amazing projects. I'm very thankful to them for inspiring me every day to keep pursuing my dreams. So as we have 10th anniversary today, for this past week, I was really thinking about my 10-year-old self and what I would say to her, to young Marta. So I would definitely say, keep your head up and let your intuition guide you, because it's always the most important. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marta. I love hearing how all of your opportunities kind of just fell like dominoes. It's beautiful. Let's turn now to Denmark. We're continuing to fill in this map. We have a young woman, Mia Cass, and we would love to hear from her.
Super. Hi, My name is Mia Cass. I'm 19 and I live in Denmark. And I'd just like to give a quick thanks to all the amazing women who have spoken before me. They're all so lovely. So I guess as someone who is from a very privileged life and a very privileged country, my views on girls and women in science has always been fairly positive. It wasn't really something that I thought too much about and personally never saw a problem in this field. But after joining the ITU and becoming a part of Generation Connect, it became apparent to me how important this issue was. This was something that we kept coming back to again and again, and it kept surprising me how relevant it was. I was a part of the cybersecurity group, so it wasn't something that I initially thought of, but it just occurred to me there how vital it was to have women in sciences, STEAMs, the ICT, everything. It was a really eye-opening and important experience for me to hear all these other girls and their hardships. And in the end, it was something that was really heavily focused on throughout our entire final product. And I also got to meet some amazing women and girls who I now truly believe are making a difference in this field right now. And I guess throughout this entire experience, it got me to look back on my life and everything that I've been through. And I was someone who was really interested in science and math at a very young age. And it was something that I chose those classes when I was very young, of course. But I ended up in a class with 3 other girls and 12 boys. And it was just something that naturally turned us into a target. So I guess if I could go back to my 10-year-old self, who over the next coming years would slowly deter away from that field, just out of fear, I would grab her by the shoulders and I would say, don't listen to the people around you, because this is honestly something that you truly love. And in the end, that's all that matters, is sticking to the stuff that you love.
Yeah, that is such a story of bravery and perseverance. I'm just really grateful to hear those words. Thank you so much, Mia. Now we're going to turn to a very special guest, Maja Hanjuska. She is the head of the program department for the Regional Cooperation Council. Maja, we are all looking very much forward to hearing you speak.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the opportunity to encourage and empower more girls and women in ICT, but also to be inspired by the passion and drive of all our fellow speakers. And actually the positive messages we set and act upon are. And we're just a few days after we in the Regional Cooperation, the network of women in STEM in the Western Balkans, to promote girls and women's inclusion in STEM education and careers as part of a broader women economic empowerment initiative. And actually, what propelled us to take this agenda so resolutely? Well, according to the Balkan Barometer survey that we are running every year, 4 times more business owners would prefer to hire men than women. And our observatory on employment also painted a rather bleak picture. Actually, men outnumber women in the region labor force for more than 1 million. And that is why we truly believe that this initiative on empowering young women to enter STEM education and career comes at a decisive moment, especially considering the economic difficulties that the entire region is facing amidst the COVID-19 crisis. Now, our Western Balkan region has been lacking vocal girls and women as role models, but this is only until now. Actually, our network members and the girls and the women we are honored actually to be joined with here today at this important celebration are all outstanding girls and women in STEM and ICT who succeeded despite all odds and branded themselves as regional or global European champions. So as an advice to my younger self or to my younger daughter for that matter, it is my pleasure to echo and to amplify some of the key messages by the extraordinary girls and women STEM network members. So really the credit goes to all of them. The first message will be competence, but also confidence. No fear of failure, and you can do this attitude. It's actually the remarkable women around the region kept pursuing their goals and passions despite the social obstacles and very often the dominant male cultures. The second one is inspire, but be inspired by others. promote the successful girls and women as role models that young women can relate, identify, and really encourage their increased participation in STEM fields. And actually promoting it is very important, like we are all doing today, to use real life testimonials and be at the platforms that the youth is. Another very important advice is to be someone's bedrock and support framework. There is a need for the creation of mentoring and coaching programs for young girls and women entering STEM education careers, but also very importantly, switching to, because this is also feasible, doable, switching to STEM careers, but also climbing the ladder when they're there. Because we are working against what is a rather sticky status quo, and we are still woefully short and shy of parity. So there is still a road ahead. And of course, another message is to share fun and good practices to motivate practitioners to introduce the similar tools. A quick message, not just to our younger selves, but also to the policymakers, to the academia, to the companies. Walk the talk. And don't just claim gender equality as the objective, but really enforce it actively in every single recruitment, every single enrollment and advancement. And another important message that our network members reminded us, and this is something that the commissioner also spoke about, one shouldn't forget the bigger picture, that all that we are today promoting and doing contributes towards the smarter, greener, digital and inclusive region, and that the women's and girls' power is innate, and actually platforms and tools are needed to flourish. So in closing, I really hope that even today, some personal story will inspire someone to pursue STEM or any other profession that enables your or our authentic selves to thrive. So the demand for ICT jobs will continue to expand alongside the employment opportunities, and many of these jobs can be filled by competent and confident girls and women. So girls and women are the greatest untapped population to become the next generation of STEM professionals and the economic engines of our region. So all here today have a role to play in terms of effectuating this potential. So thank you very much for this.
Thank you, Maya. I hear you and I see you, and I just love this, what you had as a message. Implementation, mentorship, these things are critical to moving the agenda forward. And I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to be here. We're going to move now to Serbia. And I'm so excited to hear from Milena Mišić. Milena, there you are. Let's hear from you, please.
Hello, my name is Milena. I'm 14 years old and I'm from Belgrade, Serbia. When people ask me why I'm a feminist, I tell them it's because feminism means all genders having equal rights and opportunities. It's all about leveling the playing field between genders and ensuring that diverse women and girls have the same opportunities in life available to boys and men. In the words of Maya Angelou, of course I'm a feminist. I'd be stupid not to be on my side. Women and men have been constantly fighting for women's rights since 1848 and the Seneca Falls movement. But despite the remarkable efforts made by these feminists, there is now one country in the world where women can expect to have the same rights as men. In Serbia, the gender roles are far from equal, but we are working on it. We have a long tradition of great female leaders, women in position of power, heads of parliaments, engineers, architects, painters, and scientists. But there is still a long way to go. As Kamala Harris, the first woman vice president in the US, said, "While I may be the first woman in this office, I will not be the last, because every little girl watching tonight sees that this is a country of possibilities. Dream with ambition, lead with conviction, and see ourselves in the way that others may not, simply because they've never seen it before." I can't count the number of times that the boys in my class have tried to explain to subjects like math, science, technology, physics, and other ones that are related to the careers men dominated. But as I was always better than all of them, even in the subjects, these scenarios would always end up in them asking me for help. I always stood up for myself, even as a child. I will call them out. Unfortunately, many girls don't do that, either because they are too scared, shy, or just because they don't want to get into arguments. We can learn so much from the powerful actions and inspiring words of women who came before us. But also, there is still so much work we have to do. It's our duty to carry on their work, challenging and changing, speaking up for equality. Lucky me, my mother raised me to be a so-called angry feminist, which is an awful way to say that I stand up for myself, and I answer back. Not everyone had that privilege. Dear people around the world, please be comfortable seeking further education opportunities. Always remember that you get in life what you have the courage to ask for. I hope to be able to meet all of you in person sometimes. Big thank you to the organizations, especially to the Equals UN Horizon 2020 project team that invited me to this great celebration. It's really a privilege to be part of this smart community, celebrating with and learning from people with their hearts in the right place. Stay healthy and above brave. A huge hug from Serbia. Thank you.
Thank you, Milena. Your words are moving. I really sincerely appreciate hearing from you. And I'm a feminist too, so you can always count on me to have your back. Thank you, Milena. That was phenomenal. We want to go to Albania now. We have a wonderful young woman, Eliona Abdo. Eliona, I see you. The floor is yours.
Hi, I am Eliona. I'm delighted to be here today in this very important European celebration of girls in ICT. I take this opportunity to thank the organizers for bringing us together to share our experiences and personal stories. When I think about girls in ICT, I know that some years ago, maybe before I was born, this was not mentioned anywhere. There was just the field ICT, and it was always related to boys. Through the years, things are changing. The patriarchal society is still current in my country, Albania, but things are changing every day for the better. Women are fighting for their rights, and we see successful women everywhere. Doctors, politicians, STEM-related field students, but also leaders and CEOs. Women empowerment came in like a breath of fresh air. We are more organized now, we know our values, and overcome our fears. Yesterday's dream is today's reality. Is that all? Did we win? Of course not. We have just started, and I'm not talking only about Albania. We live in a globalized world nowadays. I'm talking about the whole world. I see this in every meeting about women empowerment. I'm seeing it today. We are all gathered to change the stereotypes and celebrate our empowerment and tell girls nothing can break us if we stand united as we are doing today. I myself had difficulties when I won the chance to study ICT, as I thought I would be the only girl in the class, and it scared me. But I did it. I finished the Bachelor and Master of Science degree, and now I consider myself as a successful ICT professional. I'm happy to say we are creating a better future for our girls. I am even more happy to know that when I have a daughter, I will not have to stop her play football. I shouldn't stop her to be an engineer and let her follow her dreams. My mother was worried for me starting ICT, but every and this day she told me how proud she was, that I was doing what she couldn't. I know I will be worried for my daughter too. It's a mother thing. But as I learned from my mother, let your children follow their dreams, make their own mistakes, and you will see how the world is going to change. When talking about the change in the world, I thought I should talk about the women that have created a name in the world. The first woman for one field or another, and I'm so proud for them all. But no, I will not talk about them today. That's because I think the real heroes are the ones who keep fighting every and each day with the inequality. Those who work in an office full of men and make them show respect, beside the fact if they want to or not. I'm talking today about those women, leaders, that are making the world rethink their perspective. I'm talking about girls in every field of life, but I must say, girls in STEM-related fields has changed the game. I'm so proud for us, and this has to be celebrated every day. Happy 10 years and a lot more to go. And please use technology to change the world, as girls, as women, everywhere. And for the message I would give to my 10-year-old self is explore. Explore until you find yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Eliona. And you said that your mother is proud of you, and I'm just proud to know you. So this is wonderful. It's so nice to hear your words. We get to go to Bosnia and Herzegovina now, which is going to be a really amazing presentation from Leila Merovich. Leila, we can't wait to hear from you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Anthony. My name is Leila Merovich. I'm 19 years old. First of all, I want to wish you all an amazing Girls in ICT Day. Let's celebrate the power of knowledge and great ideas that women across the world have came up with. I'm first year of computer science, and I currently work on several IT projects. In the past, I developed a few mobile and web applications that are available to all of you. But I have to say that once I was just a little girl trying to stand out with my own capabilities. I used to have a lot of ideas, and the world of opportunities for me became computers. I decided to learn more about the world of zeros and ones on my own. There were many times when I was the only girl in the class, but it's not something that we should get used to. That is why courage is the key of achieving anything you want. We have to think about those who need to be encouraged. Boys and girls have the same rights. So let's try to think about this every time we hear someone saying there are jobs that are not meant for girls or for boys. We have a lot of examples of girls changing the world. In fact, you can become one of them as well. There are change makers around us. But if we're all gathered around positive ideas, we can make a change. Now, allow me to share a few messages on this important day. If you're a young girl wanting to become a part of ICT, don't be afraid. We're all there for you. Your ideas matter because you're working hard on it. There is going to be someone who is going to recognize that. Until then, be brave and be you. Nothing can ever stop you besides yourself. If you're a successful woman in ICT, become mentor, share your knowledge with girls, and become a role model. We need you so that we can dream about becoming that successful as you one day. We don't need just another male role model because there are plenty of them. And if you're a teacher, teach us that there are no male or female jobs, especially in ICT, where all of us can be powerful. If you're one of these people, great. But also, every individual can help because if you help only one girl in her career, you never know, maybe she's going to change hundreds of lives by a revolution of her knowledge and possibilities in ICT. Thank you all for listening and opportunity to be a part of this amazing event.
Leila, I just love what you had to say about fearlessness and bravery. And I think there is such strength in this community of women and men who are really championing the role of women in technology and especially in girls in tech. So thank you so much. It's just beautiful to hear from you. We get to go now to North Macedonia, where we will hear from Fiona Mandorova. Fiona, I see you. Let's hear from you.
Well, hello to everyone. I would like to introduce myself. I'm Fiona from Macedonia. At first, I studied at Mihailo Pupin in Skopje, Macedonia. And there are many sections, but I choose electrical installer. Well, that's a hard section, but I thought, like, I play football. That's hard, and this is hard. If I believe in myself and I would like to do that, I'm going through everything, and everyone were making pressure and telling me, how, you're a girl, how could you do that, and how it's going to be like when you grow up, what are you going to work? And I thought, if I believe in myself and if I make many challenges to myself, I could do it. And I challenge myself, and like this section needs many practical work, like climb on wooden poles. It's hard to installate. It's if you could do it, I don't know, like there are many things in practical work, like you have to work on yourself to become installator. But I thought I could graduate and then go on faculty also to study more. And if I would tell my 10-year-old self, it would go like, do what you love and what you want. Don't listen to nobody, because you're what you are. Don't try to break something for someone. And thank you for the time and listen.
Thank you, Fiona. I just love how you completely defied expectations in your life and you were able to overcome all these challenges. And I see that you believe in yourself because you stand in your own truth and you're speaking truth to power. So that's amazing. We get to go now to Montenegro, continuing to paint in this map of Europe with Nadia Stojanovic. Nadia, we will anxiously hear from you. There you are.
Hi, my name is Nadia Stojanovic. I'm 14 and I'm joining you from Montenegro. My message to you today is find your passion and be ready to work hard for it. Usually little girls want and wish to be ballerinas or teacher. Then when they grew up. But when I was a child, I want really to be ambassador of Montenegro in Italy. Probably because my mom loves Italy. And I know that I needed to know Italian language. However, once we started learning Italian at school, I was not really committed to learn it well, but and I didn't not try hard. I guess my destiny was not to be an ambassador, at least not the one in is politics. A couple years later, new subjects were added to our school, like physics and chemistry. At first, I didn't understand these new subjects, but eventually I developing a love for chemistry. As my love for chemistry grew, I started working harder and harder on understanding and developing my knowledge and abilities regarding this field. And I realized that when you have passion for something, it is not that hard to work to you. Also, I realized that once I knocked on the door of chemistry, several doors opened, and one of them is this conference we are attending today. Therefore, one day I'm hoping to be ambassador who will use knowledge in chemistry to help and connect people around the world. And of course, to achieve this dream, I will need help from all of you, because I will need ICT programs. We all know the importance of technology. Nowadays, it's hard to do anything without technology. That's why you are very important to me as a future scientist. Your knowledge is data sharing, communication infrastructure, telecommunication networks, and broadcasting services can help all us future science in research and developing new ways of improving living and doing it in a harmony with the nature. Therefore, be open to obtain knowledge in a field of technology, learn and improve, because maybe you may be a key player in the future of this planet. Thank you all. I hope that we will meet again. In meantime, stay creative. Bye.
Thank you, Nadia. And I see how passionate you are for your field. And it fills my heart with joy because I'm also passionate about my field. And I never feel like I'm working. I wake up every morning and I cannot wait to start the day. We get now to, I get to take a little bit of a break because I'm going to hand off the microphone and the control of the board to Hamsika. Hamsika is a good friend and colleague of mine, and she's an absolute rock star in her field. So Hamsika, take us forward.
Hey, hello. Thank you, Anthony. And I'm just sitting here with goosebumps. So many amazing girls and women here talking about very, very important issues. And I'm very excited to see you guys in a very, very important positions in the future. So now we have a message from Alia El Jasir. She's the Regional Director for Europe and Central Asia, UN Women. Please, Alia.
Thank you, Hanska. Thank you, Jarislav, all ITU colleagues involved in this event, dear partners, including Maya, and most of all, perhaps these inspiring young women who have spoken so far and who we're going to continue to listen to during this event. I take this opportunity to congratulate us all here on the 10-year anniversary of Girls in ICT Day. UN Women also recently marked its 10-year birthday. So despite this difficult moment that we're experiencing because of COVID, I think there's still a lot to celebrate. And because of what we're experiencing in this moment, we can say that information and communication technologies perhaps are more critical now than ever before. They're essential, as we've heard, to education, to accessing services, having decent work, getting access to information, maintaining social connections. And we can only make this century the century for women and girls by addressing the gender digital divide. And we really need all actors in the ICT sector fully committed to this goal. We did a joint study with ITU recently that you've heard briefly about, and we did that on looking at ICTs for women and girls across the region, particularly in 8 countries. And the study reconfirmed that technology really is a game changer for women and girls. And if you haven't been convinced by what you've heard from the young women themselves, we hope that you can use this study in your advocacy. And if this important resource, which we have through ICTs, is not inclusive and equal, we will see many groups of young people, particularly women and girls among them, at risk of becoming even more excluded and discriminated against. As many of you probably know, last month was a super busy month for global action on gender equality. And there was a huge focus on young people as agents for change. The Generation Equality Forum was held at the end of March in Mexico, and it gathered young people, civil society organizations, private sector, governments, international organizations, including the UN, to discuss how we can accelerate action to achieve gender equality once and for all by 2030. The theme for this year for Girls in ICT Day talks about connected girls creating brighter futures. And we really see the synergy here with what Generation Equality Initiative is all about. In Mexico, nearly half of all the participants, and there were over 13,000 of them, were under the age of 30. And this really does give me a lot of hope for the Generation Equality Initiative, for gender equality, and for building a brighter or a more connected future. We have only 9 years left to achieve the ambitions of the 2030 agenda. So if we were talking about accelerated action before COVID-19, I think we can all agree that we need it now more than ever because we're worried about even losing the gains that we've made so far. Young women leading technology and innovation was one of the key issues strongly voiced during the forum in Mexico and all along in the preparations. There is an action coalition on innovation and technology for gender equality. It's wonderful to see ITU, and we also have UNICEF in the UN system, taking a leadership role in this action coalition, as well as key partners from the region, including the governments of Finland and Armenia, as well as Koç Holding from Turkey leading on the private sector side. At Mexico, there was a blueprint for this action coalition as well as other action coalitions that was announced. But maybe I can touch on some of the key actions, and hopefully this can resonate with some of what you've heard from the young women and give us ideas in terms of the kinds of commitments we want partners to make as part of Generation Equality to have clear change happen, transformative change happen by 2026 so that we can have a better chance of achieving the 2030 agenda. So what we're talking about is reducing by half the gender digital divide across generation by accelerating meaningful access to technologies and digital literacy, leaving no one behind. Increasing investments towards feminist technology and innovation by at least 50% to support women's leadership as innovators and better respond to women and girls' most pressing needs. Double the proportion of women working in tech and innovation by setting up networks and benchmarks to transform innovation ecosystems. And very importantly, implement policies and solutions against online and tech-facilitated gender-based violence and discrimination against women and girls. The Equals Initiative, which UN Women is also part of, builds such critical components of the efforts to date. We know that the EU and EU member states have important leadership roles in other action coalitions under the Generation Equality Initiative. And now we need to continue this journey. And we invite all of you to join us as partners and commitment makers to get ready for the second part of the forum, which will happen in Paris at the end of June. We have young people leading demands and leading the thinking about actions. And I invite all of the young people here today to join the Youth Lead actions. We need to jointly use this moment and mobilize because we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I'm using today as a way to listen and learn from girls and young women in the region, not only about your experiences, but your insights, your ideas, the suggested solutions. Whatever got us to this point is not going to get us to where we want to go. So we really need your voice and we need your actions if we have any chance of meeting the ambitious targets. So I really look forward to hearing more of you. And just to end, if I could go back and say something to my 10-year-old self, and listening to you, I would say this even to myself today, especially as I hear the amazing things you have told us. But also, like if I think when I was 10 years old, there wasn't even the concept of a personal computer or a mobile phone. Even when I was the age of some of you here today, I remember how excited we were by floppy disks and like the concept of a word processing software. And when I hear your positivity, your intelligence, and your incredible power, I stand firm by what I would say. I would say that the best is yet to come and the possibilities are endless. It's the responsibility of myself and others like me in these organizations to continue to chip away and remove those barriers and those discriminations that would otherwise deprive the world of the untapped potential of amazing young women and girls like yourself all over the world. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you, Alia. And I'm sure it was a great inspiration to hear from you, from the UN Women. And I'm sure these girls will do a great job towards achieving or working towards the Agenda 2030. So we are moving now to Moldova. We have an amazing woman, Alexandra Taranu.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Alexandra Taranu, and I'm a high school student. Let's imagine for a second that you are going back in time and there is no technology. What would you do? You will definitely start looking for an idea to create something new and useful for people. No matter the gender, age, race, or nationality, you have to be motivated, believe in yourself, and not give up. If we refer to girls in STEM education, they can really build confidence in themselves and have the trust that their ideas can solve the thorniest problem. As girls' participation in ICT activities can expand their access to jobs in high-growth companies and all life domains. As a young lady and participant at the Girls Go IT program organized by UN Women in Moldova, founded by Sweden, represented me a strong reconfirmation that ITC field is my future. I could say that just like in any other field, you have to be perseverant. You may need to start your own learning path, acquiring step by step the main languages used in web development, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Afterwards, You have to apply the knowledge to create interactive websites aiming at solving community problems through a platform that teaches youth about their human rights, as I did. I started to apply my knowledge with more confidence. One of my achievements that I'm proud of is the website that I have developed for monitoring the health status of people with breathing difficulties. This website consists of more categories. One of them is the diagrams that indicate the value of humidity, temperature, and gas. One important issue that must be taken into consideration is that this kind of activity requires some steps to be followed. Personal attitude, exploration, that means to analyze and to find a purpose, and try to predict the final result. ICT activities made it possible for me and for my peers to express the reality of the century. And if I were to give a piece of advice to my 10-year-old self, I would recommend to try what makes your heart vibe, to not be afraid of taking risks and have the trust that with ambition, perseverance, and willingness, you'll create anything you set out to. There are no limits that only set by your mind. From the Republic of Moldova, I wish you all a great Girls City Nice Day.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Alexandra, and thank you for your genuine message and speech to all of us. And then we're moving to Ukraine. We have Maria Kolisnek. Maria, please.
Hi. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Maria Kolisnek. I'm from Ukraine. My experience suggests being always positive, smiling, open to the new adventures. It will be good to travel, speak foreign languages, and discover world cultures. Especially, it may spend a lot of time at the ocean, in parks, forests, and biological reserves. Of course, we might acquire knowledge on distance learning. There are 5 unsaid waves of changes: person, global economy, physical environment, skills, and team. The major trends that will impact on business and governments in 230. All over the world are the trends related to opportunities of the concrete person, global economy, and physical environment. To keep up with the changes, it is necessary to acquire new professional and personal skills, namely adaptive thinking, intercultural competence, ability to use new media, and effectively work remotely. In addition, it is important to have knowledge from outside your specialization. Try to do something that is unusual for you. It is at the intersection of disciplines where startups and the most interesting ideas emerge. Be yourself and improve your IT skills. Susan Wojcicki is the CEO of YouTube said, there is nothing impossible in the world. Thank you for your attention. Best regards from Ukraine.
Thank you so much, Maria. And then we are moving to Turkey. We have Selinor Sakir. Selinor.
Hello, everybody. First of all, I would like to introduce myself briefly. My name is Sirena Chiakar. I'm from Turkey. I'm 13 years old. I don't have any plans about future, but because I'm too young for thinking this. But my elder sister is studying industrial engineering, and in our department there are not many girls. She's a lucky girl because our mom is computer engineer, and she is leading R&D and technology group in Avelsan, which is a famous technology company in Turkey. When my sister was a child, my mother and her friends were always role models for her. Perhaps that was the main reason why she chose the engineering profession. Mom always supports my sister, but most of the other families don't show such support. In the world, there are so many problems about gender equality, and we can see these problems in technology field too. Society has an important role about choosing a career. For example, one of my girlfriends wanted to attend a robotic class, but she was the only girl in the class. For that reason, she didn't want to attend class again. But the robotic class teacher and her family supported her on attending the class. Then she inspired other girls about learning robotics. Families have an important role about choosing a career too. Many families provide tablets, cell phones, computers for their sons at early ages, but they don't do it for girls. Therefore, boys meet technology before girls. Society, family, and teachers have a great influence on the choice of profession. Why girls don't choose ICT career? There are 2 basic questions when choosing a career. One is, can I do that? And the second one is, do I want to do this? If girls think STEM is difficult due to social bias and is more suitable for boys, then they're more skeptical than boys when choosing a STEM career path. The lower self-concept is also reinforced and even created by parents, society, and teachers. External barriers such as tradition and cultural stereotypes and the lack of role models in this sector is another reason why there are least women compared to men in this field. To encourage more girls to consider working the ICT sector for careers in the future, it is necessary to introduce successful women who will be role models for them. These role models can be creating a society where women and men, girls and boys are equal, where diversity is a recognized asset to the economy and society, and where women have equal opportunities to participate and thrive in society. That's all. Thank you very much for your time and participation, and thanks for the opportunity given to me.
Thank you, Selinor, and thank you for pointing the importance parents and the teachers and academia has to do in this important process. And then we have a message from Christiana Fleur. She's the co-president of CEPT and representative of Network of Women for Europe. So please, Christiana.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me well. It's really such a pleasure to be with you today and to celebrate the 10 years of the Girls in ICT project, which is very dear to my heart. I want to say to you that I started my day by asking my colleagues, especially the female colleagues, what would they say to you? Or what would they like to hear from this discussion? It was very interesting, and every one of them, like all of you, have brought their own experience to their answers. And I think it's amazing when we all have our minds and our hearts aligned. Okay, so I started thinking, where was I 10 years ago when Girls in ICT started? Well, I was just starting my career in this field. And of course, I encountered all of the challenges, all of the stereotypes that you can encounter. But somehow I was strong and I stood up for myself. I was perseverant and I continued to do the work. How I did that? I asked myself, do I find myself in this field? Yes, I did find myself in this field. What is the impact of my work in the field? And if I found the right answers, I continued. So I think it's so important to have this conversation with yourself, and I keep having it since 10 years ago. At every step, whenever I have an important decision to make, or whenever I have to decide on my career path, whenever there is an intersection and you need to choose which path you go through, you have this conversation with yourself. You ask yourself, what is the impact of the work? What the impact is on your personal life? Because it's very important for us. I think also that our values and our principles have to be aligned with what we do. Especially for us women, it's very important to do that. So after I started, as I said, I followed many steps, and now I find myself being the first chairwoman of the Committee for ITU Policies in the CEPT. I got here also with the help of and encouragement of my colleagues, both the experienced colleagues and the ones that were very young like me and very enthusiastic, but came with an open heart and open mind. So it's very important to have a network of people and to support each other. It was key for me, actually. So I think this is how I'm starting to pay it forward. So we in Europe started this network of women in ICT together with the ITU and the CEPT, and I think it will be a good way to discuss and to start breaking the stereotypes and to encounter, I don't know, the challenges to break them. Also, when I think about the 10 years, my colleagues were saying today to me that we need to keep the way a 10-year-old child looks at things. They're curious, but they're also courageous. Also, they are very hungry for knowledge, so they take in all the information. So let's look at this program as a 10-year-old child, and let's continue to have this spirit. And if I look back to my 10-year-old self, I would just say to continue to be strong and to follow the education path, because it's so important. If we are encouraged with the opportunities to follow education paths in STEM. I loved math and science since I was little, and I had encouragement from the families, and I think everybody says that the family is very important. So even if we think our family supported us, we need to, as I said, pay it forward and continue to support our families, but also let's consider us a family for women in tech. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christiana, for your extremely inspiring story, and I'm sure it motivates a lot of the young women listening to you. Thank you so much. It's great to see the map turning more and more blue. So we are now moving forward to Germany. We have Nelly Hedvig Horstman. Hello, Nelly.
Yes, thank you, Hamsika. Guten Tag. My name is Nelly Horstman. As you introduced me, I am 23 years old and I was born and raised in Germany. I'd like to say that it's my great honor to speak up on the International Girls in ICT Day as a representative from Germany, especially with all these amazing girls present today. So a little bit about me. I'm a fifth-year medical student, and for the next year at least, I will be working in a surgical research laboratory in Cologne, my kind of hometown, on pursuing my medical doctor thesis. My dream job finally would be working as a surgeon someday, while also continuing to do research as a clinician scientist. That being said, I would like to share some of the challenges awaiting and the experiences I have gathered as a girl working in STEMs. So, as you all might already know, surgery is kind of a tough section to work in as a female physician. Long working hours, unpredictable shifts, and physical strain make it very hard to grant a good work-life balance for surgeons. Typically, women who want to combine a family and a career often have to face gender stereotypes and disadvantages. Consequently, people working as surgeons, especially in the higher positions, are male in 72% of all the cases. This leads, of course, to a rather intimidating work environment for young female medical students. I have been able to generate some personal experience as a female medical student because I have assisted in the operation room during some internships. For example, I have been approached unprofessionally by male colleagues, and I had to endure negative comments regarding my gender whenever I did something wrong. These are situations that happen in every hospital, probably everywhere in the whole world. And feeling the need to ignore these comments as they come from your supervisors is a serious part of the problem. I felt unable to contradict my supervisors because I feared training disadvantages or even more negative comments. All in all, it seems to be a vicious circle because gender inequality and sexism at work can't be stopped easily. In my opinion, the change has to start in the minds of people, and I won't be satisfied until this has happened. Accepting female colleagues as equals, acknowledging the difficulties women face in male-dominated careers, and treating all co-workers with respect, support, and consideration will create a pleasant work environment attractive for young surgeons. Tackling this change by setting an example is one challenge I have on my agenda. Once I finish my studies and start to work, I'm assured it is a long way with many sacrifices, but I won't let this have an impact on my choice of career. In contrast, I will keep myself inspired by the many successful female surgeons who made their way through this male-dominated area without being intimidated. To round it up, one advice I would give to my 10-year-old self: never let anyone define your limits or goals. I hope my short intervention was encouraging for girls who wish to study STEMs, contribute to healthcare, or work in information and communication technologies. I'm confident we can really make a change together. Thank you for your attention.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nelly. And I'm sure you'll be a great medical doctor. I'm looking forward to follow your journey as well. And then we're moving to France. We have Yves Delporte. Yves, hi.
Hello, my name is Yves Delporte. I am 15 years old. I am from France. And if I attend to this meeting today, it's because I think that girls and boys should have the same access to science and technologies. For me, it's logical that girls and boys have the same access and education to science and technologies, because I had the chance to grow up in a family where I am offered the possibility of choosing myself what I want to do later, and where I have the same education than boys. For example, in my school, we have the chance to have a lot of computer and a lot of activities around sciences. Also, a lot of science and technologies at school come to present their school to us. The teachers of my school encourage the students to go towards sciences education, whether we are girls or boys. Unfortunately, not all the girls have this chance. I would like that this change in the future, and it's up to all of us to make this change. For this, we girls must take our future in hand. Plus, girls who have the chance to have access to this education succeed as much as the boys in science and technologies. Girls have the same ability to learn than boys and the same desire to learn. That's why I think that we should all have the same access to this education, and that the stereotype about girls who aren't made for science and technology should be abolished. As I have the chance to access education in science and technology, I would like that all the girls have also this chance. When I grow up, I would be a graphic designer. It's always interested me, and I like the fact that we can use two fields like art and technology to communicate. Graphic design touches upon a lot of things. There is graphic design everywhere, in the poster, on the street, on social media, on TV. And that's why I think it's very important and interesting to communicate with this. And maybe one day I will use it to communicate for girls' rights. If I could give an advice to my 10-year-old self, it would be to always keep your head up and never let someone say mean thing to you or said that I can do something because I'm a girl. Thank you for listening, and happy Girls in ICT Day.
Thank you, Eve, and it's a very interesting field with art and technology. So good luck with an interesting field. So we're moving to Spain now, and we have Nuria Sanz. Nuria Sanz, hi.
Hi, I am Nuria Sanz from Spain. And firstly, I would like to thank everyone responsible for giving me this opportunity to be able to speak on behalf of girls who are pursuing or want to pursue a career in an ICT field. I've noticed in the recent years that more and more girls are getting interested in this sector as time goes by, and thus fight very hard to accomplish their goals. These are incredibly good news. Many of them have great ideas, are very creative, and will surely make a change somewhere in the future. In fact, in my high school, out of 23 students in my physics course, 5 of them, we are girls. This has been one of the years with most girls in the course. But not only at school, but also at extracurricular activities, this is a real tendency that I've noticed. Ever since I was a kid, I participated in different technology activities like video game programming. And I always remember being either alone or hiding behind my brother during the first days. Girls were clearly a minority. I eventually, of course, stopped hiding behind my brother and did some socializing. And my friends turned out mostly to be mainly boys. Of course, there were girls, and as we were in minority, we tend to stick together. Now, when I visit my school's technology-centered extracurricular activities, I notice that there are more or less the same amount of boys and girls. To see that the numbers are increasing bit by bit makes not only me happy, but also the teachers and everyone involved. The world is becoming increasingly more and more technology-centered, and young girls in our generation and the upcoming ones will live in a world that will be supported by this technology. Therefore, girls should have their place in that future. But to be able to speak about the future or even the present, we need to remember the past. In a discipline where the main gender is a prominent one, standing out as a woman requires an extra effort, especially in the last century. Many great scientific women have done incredible advances, of which we have the privilege nowadays of using in our present. There are countless women that have had a hand in the fate of their future, which has become now our present. And not only did they fight for their goals, but also to be recognized and be as valued as any other male scientist. They have already paved the way, and we just need to walk on it and to end a beautiful journey with advancement, development, innovation, and a new bright future. However, there are still many countries all over the world where girls either do not or cannot have access to these STEM programs. This usually resides on the fact that girls are sadly still considered in some places as not capable of doing what it is considered a man's job. Those of us who can, we should stand up and use our voice for those who cannot do anything but to stay silent. If I look back at my 10-year-old self, I noticed that self-confidence and getting as many opportunities as possible is very important to achieve your goals. It is our time to work for that what we love and make things work out for us all. By working hard and pursuing a change, girls will surely get their brighter future someday in the future. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nuria, and thank you for addressing the situation in the world today for many, many, many girls. And thank you so much for letting me host some of this part, and then I will give it back to Dr. Anthony.
Thank you, Hamsika. This is so exciting to hear from so many young women. When we were organizing this event, it was kind of well, we know this is a good idea, but we can't quite see the power, at least not, feel the power of these voices like we have today. And I've been emotionally moved throughout the day, and all the panelists are sitting in chat telling each other how amazing it is to hear each of their stories. So I just want to emphasize how important it is for us to hear their voices and to hear these young women from all over Europe talk about their experiences. I want to let you guys know there's a really special part of this event that's coming up at the end of our time. We are going to have a highlight reel of our campaign advice for my 10-year-old self. So it's going to be a really, really cool video that we get to watch together. And I think it's something we can all share, and a little bit of laughter and a little bit of joy together. We get now to hear from a very special woman, Andrea Barbu. She is leading the Generation Connect group, which is the Europe Youth group at the International Telecommunications Union. Andrea, it's so nice to see you, and we can't wait to hear from you.
Greetings, esteemed members of ITU, fellow participants and friends. On the occasion of the European Celebration of Girls in ICT 10th anniversary, I wish to congratulate you and offer my sincere thanks to the promoters of women studying and working in STEM fields. This last decade has seen a shift in paradigm from the male-dominated industries to a women-inclusive environment. In the Generation Connect youth groups, girls have had the chance to communicate to the ITU the challenges, opportunities, and actions they wish to see. In order to have a world which is supportive towards girls enrolling in STEM programs. At the Generation Connect meetings in December, January, with young women from all over Europe, we have agreed on asking for enough universities to educate us on equal chances at a constant legal support at the workplace and to be taken seriously when we are voicing our opinion. The Generation Connect strategy has enabled us to present our experience from over 15 European countries and to represent women from back home in an international space where cooperation has produced the Youth Declaration. We discussed about capacity development, cybersecurity, environment, digital inclusion, and so much more. We discussed about how women can get involved, how they can be protected and encouraged to act. I invite you to read it online. Just Google ITU Youth Declaration and access it. With your joint efforts for forward-thinking governments and well-planned projects by OGN, NGOs and corporations, women have found more jobs available to them. Sadly, when looking at the statistics, this is more to be done. There's more to be done over the next decade to ensure that the progress is not lost and that women will be better represented in STEAM fields and others for that matter. Beginning with education offered to girls, policies regarding educational strategies need to be enforced towards an early introduction of the use and programming of a machine to children, be it girls and boys alike, with an advertisement of all jobs the industries have to offer. In the east side of Europe, there is a clear lack of trained professionals to tutor such children. Few cities with universities offer programs for engineering, mathematics, IT, and so on. The scarcity of programs with qualified professors caused the brain drain of such countries, the overcrowding of cities, and the ever-growing gap between rural and the cities. The harsh competition of future graduates of such fields may be intimidating and discourage girls from applying. The amazing potentials these girls have is the world's chance to a balanced workforce. But girls are frightened by the competitions and may sometimes give up. So I encourage you not to give up. This potential, should it be lost, the equilibrium of the world will never be reached. Girls' freedom to choose their field of study, to re-educate, re-specialize, to progress, is the world's chance to solve the pains of starvation, poverty, malady, and corruption. The challenges the world has right now is all revolving around women. We need to uplift women. Girls have been faced with a history of over 2,000 years of being denied rights, education, and jobs. When history seems so much powerful, a little girl wishing to study engineering may seem hard to conquer and she may never see the light of day. However, expanding the horizon has no limits. Jobs are open in companies for women with STEM knowledge. Universities have their doors open for international women. Online platforms offer courses and millions of books on self-study. So I want you girls to take any opportunity you find and go with it. Today's acute challenge is that women who pass a certain age cannot change fields, should they wish, from a humanities-centric to a mathematics field. They are regarded as old and unproductive with a mind that has an expiration date. And that is not true. Women, whatever age they have, they should be allowed to change their jobs. Success stories are all over the world, from Emilia Earhart to Anna Kanjan, the first woman to receive a bachelor of science degree in engineering from Columbia University, to modern-day Donna Strickland and Sunita Williams. But women don't need any success stories. We need to be appreciated for our talent. We need to be encouraged for our future and supported in our endeavors. I would advise my 10-year-old self to focus on every subject in school, to become a jack of all trades, because complex minds are those who find solutions, see connections, and have a world of opportunity in front of them. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Andrea. And I just think what you mentioned about appreciating somebody's talent is so critical for helping women move forward, because so often their talents are just unrecognized. They're just ignored. And what we need is just to simply look at them and say, yes, you're doing a great job. What you're doing is awesome. Andrea, what you're doing is awesome. And I really
what you
appreciate
are doing with us today, moderating us, is absolutely awesome. And thank you for being a man in a girl's world right now.
Thank you. It's my privilege. It's absolutely an honor. We get now to go to the United Kingdom. We are continuing to color in this beautiful map. And we have a very special girl here, Mira. And Mira is the youngest young woman who is here today to speak to us. So I think we all owe her our attention and our engagement.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Myra Agarwal and I am from the United Kingdom. I'm a Year 6 student at North London Collegiate School and I am 11 years old. I'm very happy to be making this speech at this 10th anniversary event, though to be honest, I'm a little nervous being the youngest speaker. So here are my thoughts about STEAM. At my school, there are lots of different ways in which we learn about STEAM. As well as studying science, maths, and art and normal lessons, we have design and technology days, a STEAM club, and sometimes we have STEAM-themed events. At STEAM Club, we made marble shoots to learn about gravity. I think I most enjoy STEAM when it's hands-on and involves a practical activity. As an engineering challenge, as part of a team, I had to design, build, and test a model airplane. Mine was called the Sparrow. We had to think about the aerodynamics, what materials to use, and the wing structure. It was a lot of fun firing them down the school corridors. I will be starting senior school next year and can't wait for the new exciting STEAM opportunities. My teacher has told me about a chemistry lesson using metals that explode in water. Technology is rapidly changing the world around us. How much have phones developed? It seems like Apple releases a new phone every 6 months. I personally have an iPhone, whereas my parents definitely did not have a phone at my age. When they finally did get a mobile phone, they were more like bricks with antennas, only capable of making calls, sending texts, and a pretty basic game called Snake. Today, phones are slender, can hold lots of different software, and I can even watch Netflix on it. To be honest, there was a time when I didn't really like maths. It was complicated and scary. I'm lucky that my mum helped me to see that it can be fun to explore different ways of approaching a maths problem using objects. Now I enjoy maths and it's one of my favorite subjects. In some ways, technology brings risks. The most obvious for me is the internet. My parents give me lots of advice on how to stay safe online. We do lots of e-safety in school. Recently, I looked at a bunch of fake stories, including one which claimed that a man had pretended to be deaf for 60 years to avoid talking to his family. I know that I'm supposed to give advice to my 10-year-old self, which feels a bit strange since I've only been 11 for 7 weeks. Anyway, my advice would be dream big and don't be afraid to try something just because you're young. There may be more men than women in some STEAM careers, but we can easily change that. Thank you for listening to my thoughts on STEAM.
Myra, you are an absolute gem. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to you speak, and I don't know if you're going to do any more lectures anywhere, but if you ever want to do a guest lecture from one of my courses, I would love to have you in there and talk to my students about all the things that you mentioned. I can't imagine what it must be like, even at my age, creating an airplane that goes anywhere. It would simply crash and burn. So I really just loved hearing your story, and I loved having you here. So thank you, Myra. You're an absolute gem.
Thank you.
We get to move now to Italy, where we have a young woman, Sarah Matassoni.
Hello, Anthony. Hello, Anthony. Thank you for introducing me. So I'm an Italian girl. My name is Sarah. I'm a student of economics. I'm actually completing my Master of Science now. It's pretty hard to get in after Myra's astonishing intervention, but you know, we got to do what we got to do. Anyways, I wanted to start this intervention with an anecdote, with something that happened to me. So I am passionate about technology. I've always loved coding and studied technology for most of during my economic student path. And I had my computer broke, and I needed to take it to the assistance center. And I perfectly knew that the problem was a paste that is inside your computer. It's a thermal paste that makes some problem with the heating, and like the computer heats up. So I brought it to the assistance center and I explained this to the guy that was working there. I was like, the first thing the guy told me was, no, it's not. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure it's that. You should go for it. And he didn't believe me. So I brought up this, I invented that my father was an engineer, and that he told me that he was that was the problem. So at that point, he kind of believed me more. But I wanted to reason on this like sense of this instinct that I had to bring up a man to make my word more reliable. This wasn't definitely the first time that happened, but it's a feeling that we have pretty often. And I think this comes from the lack of, or the scarcity of role models that we have in such fields. Like we don't picture women as competent. We don't picture competent women easily in STEM fields in general. And when I started studying public economics, I was there weren't as many women in politics as there are now. So things have changed in 5 years. I have some presidents, some very important politicians that are women, and it's very easy to look up to them and be like finally inspired and be able to picture ourselves in higher positions. So what I would give to as a piece of advice to a 10-year-old me, I couldn't choose one, so I decided to put two. So the first would be not to settle. Don't think that if there's no one that is up there that you can look up to, you can't be one of them. And I haven't made it. I'm still able to. I don't have this feeling of wanting to settle. I have someone to look up to now. And the second piece of advice is to be united with other women, because for my personal experience, they are the best shelter, and especially in sharing such feelings and situations very often. And so, yeah, this is pretty much it.
Thank you, Sarah. And I tell my students who are young women the exact same thing. I say, having a connection to me will help you advance your career, but the best thing you can do for your career is connect with other women in your field. That network, the strength of those relationships will help carry you through your entire life. So thank you, Sarah, for being here and for highlighting this really important issue. It's so nice to see you.
My pleasure.
We get to go to Belgium now, and we have Audrey Jorgen. Audrey.
Good afternoon. So my name is Audrey Jorgen. I'm 16 years old. I'm Belgian, from Brussels, and I actually live just a few steps away from the European Union headquarters. When I was young, I struggled at school. School didn't give me the opportunity to appreciate mathematics or sciences. We just followed the program without feeling any passion. So school made me think that I wasn't good enough. I had a feeling of failure. But luckily, thanks to other positive influences in my life, I decided to convince myself that I could be good at anything that I wanted to do. I came to the conclusion that if you truly want to achieve a goal, you have to believe in yourself. As I grew more and more comfortable in math and sciences studies, I started to think that it was important for me to know what career path I wanted to take. Computer sciences, mechanical engineering. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to study. But what I knew was that I wanted to be a part of the evolution of technology, to make an impact in society, to participate in a project that can be scaled globally and help others. When I started to talk about it, the answer I received were, "Are you sure? It's a man's job, It's difficult. Are you going to make it?" Science is often considered a male-dominated field. Those answers made me doubt for a moment. But as I grew to know myself better every day, I realized that the best way to motivate me is to tell me I can't do it, because then I will fight for it. Today, even in Europe, we are still surrounded by prejudice about the abilities of girls to fulfill any position in the society. I feel that it's our mission to prove them that they are wrong. And finally, if I could give advice to my 10 years old self, I will tell myself, you should spend more time understanding deeper the sentence we had at the entrance of our school that said, let your dreams devour your life, not your life devour your dreams. Because as girls, everything is possible. Thank you. I'm very grateful for being able to be here.
Audrey, those are so powerful words. And it's just, I can't even say anything to fill in the gap here. You are awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. We get to go now to Greece. So we're going to fly into Southern Europe with Anita Nomikos. Anita, I see you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my great pleasure to be here today at this very important event for young girls like myself. My name is Anita, I am 14 years old, and I go to St. Catherine's, a British school in Greece. Living in such a modern and evolving world, I think that the importance of women pursuing careers in the science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics is more important now than it ever was. Having 3 brothers who I constantly fight with puts into perspective that women and men are capable of the same things. An example is when we fight. Sometimes I win and sometimes my brothers win. The message of this is that through women pursuing careers, it can help bridge the gender digital divide. According to research, the COVID-19 crisis has accelerated digital technology by 3 to 4 years. This just shows how it is with greater reason that we should engage the European community and promote collaboration through partnerships. Despite significant improvements in the last couple of years, women are still underrepresented in science and technology. This is due to a variety of reasons, mostly related to the role allocated to women in modern society, as well as pre-existing prejudices that form glass ceilings while encouraging male presence in the workplace. It is also, however, a result of lack of information, which places young women in difficult position of making a career choice, with little knowledge of available positions. What seems to be missing are good role models that could act as inspiration and source of information and guidance, and offer a glimpse into the reality of being a female employed in the field of science and technology. This is where we come in. As young women, we can form a community and learn and go after what we want. Although it may sound straightforward, there are many obstacles that do not allow this to be as easy as it should be. First of all, at school, there's a lack of clubs that do all these things like clubbing, coding, computing, and learning to use 3D printers. Along with this comes a fear that some girls face, like no girls will join or it will all be boys, or maybe that their friends think it's weird. But as a matter of fact, I think that we should normalize all of this and think of it as an advantage that we are educated and know about these things. In addition, parents, teachers, and career guidance counselors all have a significant role in assisting or hindering the way young women choose their career paths, and that choice begins early on from school, all the way through to higher education. I am certain that if we follow through and do these things, it will encourage girls all over the world to pursue these careers. If I were to give my 10-year-old self advice, it would be to not let things that won't matter in the future stop you from doing things that will matter in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. And I have to share, my grandparents are from Greece. And so I wish that you had a chance to connect with them, because I think they would have been so inspired by your words today. And it's just hearing from you so encouraging to see that path that you've charted for yourself. So thank you, Anita. It's a privilege. We want to go now to Switzerland, to Yasmin Samawi. Yasmin.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am really grateful for this opportunity. A bit about myself. My name is Yasmin Samawi. I am 14 years old and I am from Geneva, Switzerland. Ever since I was young, my brother, who had a background in STEM, had always encouraged me and pushed me to try and experience things related to STEM. I always thought that a girl like me that does ballet wouldn't suit these type of things, but I was wrong. Later on, when quarantine started, my brother showed me a video of a sphericon, which is a shape that is specially designed to roll on forever. I was very curious about how the object was fabricated. So, my brother said we could do some 3D printing and designing together. We sat down together and watched videos on 3D printers and the printing process. Then, I decided to research the subject on my own. I learned different types of printers, programs, and materials. My brother and I spent quarantine working on this 3D printer and creating different models of rooms and houses, which is a great passion of mine. This pushed me to want to master this skill, and so I joined my school's 3D printing and designing class. I was surprised to be the only girl there. The guys in the class were shocked to see me, while the teacher was happy. This showed me that we as girls must be more curious, regardless of whether the topic falls under certain stereotypes or not. That is to say that not one thing is boys only or girls only when it comes to education. We as girls should not be afraid to follow and or try new topics. To this day, I continue to design and print 3D models and continue to improve my level of skill. So, if I were to give my 10-year-old self advice after this experience, I would say that when something in the world catches your eye, find others who are willing to teach you, and also find others who share your passion and are willing to grow alongside you.
Thank you, Yasmin. I love that message of curiosity, and I see that in your eyes. I see how curious you are about the world around you and the area that you're working in. And I think that's going to serve you so well through the entire life, no matter what career you go into and what you choose. That sense of curiosity gives you purpose, and I really, really admire you for that. So thank you very much. We got a special opportunity now. As I mentioned before, we've been running a campaign online that focuses on advice for our 10-year-old selves. And we've heard from so many women now about their advice for their 10-year-old self. So we want to show you now a highlight reel that pulls out the kind of best advice that we've given ourselves over the last few weeks. And I'm really, really excited to see this because we're going to see so many different people, familiar faces and very new faces. So if we could go ahead and make that happen.
This video is for European celebration of Girls in ICT 10-year anniversary. If I would give advice to my 10-year-old self, I would say keep learning and believe in yourself because amazing opportunities are waiting for you.
Don't be afraid of change and never stop learning.
Just go for it. And don't be afraid of making mistakes.
Follow your dreams, even though people may tell you it's difficult or maybe even impossible.
It doesn't matter how much money you'll make. It won't matter how many degrees you have or how big your house is. What will matter is the people in your life who you care about and the people who care about you.
Don't be afraid to experience everything and compete with the best version of yourself.
Amazing things are yet to come, that the possibilities are endless. And make sure that you jump on the train. You can even drive it if you like. And most of all, enjoy the journey.
Be brave and don't give up on your dreams. You can do anything if you believe in yourself and your dreams.
To keep her head up and never let someone say something mean to her or say that I can't do something because I'm a girl.
Don't be afraid of trying new things and don't let others influence you, especially when it comes to something you're passionate about.
Do what makes you happy, regardless of what others say, mean, or believe. Be kind and try not to care about what others think of you.
Always keep your goals in mind and never let anyone or anything keep you away from doing what you love. But to be able to do so, self-confidence and self-awareness are fundamental to not get discouraged by either comments you might receive or whatever people might think. So always fight for your goals and never let anyone tell you what you should or should not be.
Live a life to the fullest, to be yourself and to believe in your capacity to succeed. Try what makes your heart vibe.
practice it day by day and try it again. Just view your world being miraculous and have the trust you'll create anything you set out to.
Just stop caring about what other people have to say. Trust your judgment.
Keep developing new ideas, share them with others, and never give up.
Dear Marta, you are perfect just as you are. Keep your head up and follow your dreams.
Don't be afraid to take risks, defy expectations, and forge your own path.
I will say get a Catholic, hang out with my friends. I'm not far away from my 10 years old self, but I feel so much older because of the pandemic.
Be always positive, smiling, open to the new adventure. Avoid travel, speak foreign languages, and discover world cultures.
Life is full of challenges, and sometimes these can seem insurmountable, whether you're preparing for an exam, practicing for a recital, or trying out for a sports team. But if you can take those challenges and break them into smaller pieces, it's easier to tackle each of these tasks, and you're able to celebrate each small success along the way. And don't forget to take the time to celebrate those successes. You are amazing, and you deserve it.
Never stop exploring, as every new experience will take you a step closer to your purpose.
Here, keep trying your best in everything you do, and don't underestimate yourself.
Be the best and do the best of all the times.
Let your dreams devour your life, not your life devour your dreams. Because as girls, everything is possible.
To stand up for myself, to keep on exchanging with others, to not be afraid to keep on exploring fields of my interest, whether it is science, technologies, or arts. Just go and get it. You can do anything that you want.
My advice to my 10-year-old self seems a little strange since it's only been a short 7 weeks since I was 10. Anyway, my advice is that maths and science are a lot more fun and a lot less scary if you're a little brave. So don't be afraid to do something new just because you're young.
Be inspired by digital innovation. Be also courageous to find your place in the digital space. Simultaneously, inspire others to build digital future together. There's no limit to what you can do. All depends on you. I wish you all great Girls in ICT Day.
I just can't even express how awesome that video is. That's the coolest thing I've seen in a very, very long time. I'm going to have to play that over and over and over again after we finish this event, because it's just, I can't get enough of seeing all these amazing people talk about their experiences. We're going to wrap up now. I wanted to hand over the microphone to Yaroslav. He has been so formidable in making this happen. I can't thank you enough, Yaroslav. You are amazing.
Thank you very much, Anthony, and thank you very much, Hansika, for the great moderation and great cooperation on this project. And thank you to all our high-level speakers and our incredible girls for the beautiful stories and insights they have shared with us. It has been personally inspiring, and I hope that this celebration has inspired all the girls following us today to consider careers in the ICTs. This session not only inspired us but gave us some practical advice moving forward on following our dreams, not caring what others think, being curious and taking chances. I myself took the opportunity earlier this week to share the video on the advice to my 10-year-old self. My advice is inspire others to build a digital future together. There is no limits what you can do. All depends on you. So let's make it all happen together. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone again for this incredible event and to remind you to join us at 16 hours for the Girls in ICT Global Celebration, when Anthony will be also speaking and sharing his wisdom. I'd like to give a special thanks to Anthony, who has been instrumental in organizing this event, and to all the partners who have nominated the girls speaking here today. Anthony, you have the last word. as the leader of the Equals EU, being the platform which we are strongly supporting and looking forward to working with you on the innovation for empowerment of the girls in ICTs.
Thank
Anthony,
you,
I'm handing over to you.
I appreciate that. And I'm going to end with just a huge thank you to the following folks: Andrea, Daphne, Eliza, Marta, Mia, Milena, Eliana, Leila, Fiona, Nadia, Alexandra, Maria, Selinor, Nelly, Eve, Nuria, Mira, Sarah, Audrey, Anita, and Yasmin. You guys are amazing. You hear this all the time, that you are the future. That is the absolute truth. And I want you each to know how much I appreciate what you've done here today for me as a teacher and as a student, because I learn from you as much as you do from me. Tomorrow, next year, next week, if you ever need advice, if you ever need a connection, please reach out to me. I'm on all the social media. Connect with me, and I will do everything I can to help you accelerate your careers. And finally, I just want to encourage everyone, if you're into this gender inclusion thing, which you all are by now, if you haven't been convinced by now, I don't know what would convince you. Please sign up for our newsletter. We're putting out a monthly newsletter that's all about gender inclusion and innovation. It's good practices so that you can take this idea forward. Thank you again, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you very much.